Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, I'm going to go over my 10 favourite weapons in the game at the moment, tell you why I think they're so good, and how you can get them. Now notice I did say 10 favourite weapons in the game, not 10 best, and the reason is that the 10 best weapons in your game would be a different list completely, and I don't kind of think there is a 10 best weapons in a way. Like, the best weapon for any current fight or situation will vary upon literally that fight or situation and the team you are facing. So 10 favourite weapons, there will be certain missions where people will think, oh my god, how can you not have included that? But the thing is, this is just a list of 10, and there's so many good weapons in the game. Something had to give somewhere, so if anything's missing that you think is an amazing weapon, it doesn't mean to say that I missed it out on purpose or don't think it's any good. It just means that this is the 10 favourite weapons I am using on a regular basis right now. Right, so in the 10th slot, not necessarily the 10th best weapon in the game, but like I say, we have to put them somewhere. The best weapon for the game will vary upon the different situations which you are up against. But it's one of these. Which one is it? Let's play a mini game at the same time. It is Trickster Shot. Now, why is it so good? It eliminates all armor from an enemy for a start. All armor, no matter what the amount, bang, gone in one go. Then deals effective true damage immediately, which is based on your magic. Gains 2 magic boosted by the armor eliminated, a 3-to-1 ratio. So that means it's going to do even more damage the next time, which is actually really cool. In those events where the enemy basically gets more powerful every single round, this effectively scales with the enemy, making it more and more powerful as it goes along. Really cool weapon. And has a fantastic upgrade as well, which is enchanting, which basically means as soon as you cast this, it enchants itself and gets ready to do it again, meaning it doesn't necessarily have to be in first slot either to make it viable. You can have it further down in your team, safer in second or third slot, knowing as soon as you cast it, it will get to cast again pretty quickly. Absolutely a fantastic weapon, a Trickster Shot. And where do you get it from, or how do you get it? Well, it's a Bright Forest weapon, so basically you wait for the Kingdom of the Week to be a Bright Forest again, and it'll be available in the Soul Forge, and make sure you don't miss it. Number 9, we have a particularly annoying weapon. Can you guess what one it is out of this little motley crew here? Well, it can only be the mightily annoying, mightily fine Trick and Treat. The thing is, if it's mightily annoying, that means it's mightily good. I mean, how many times have you seen this in PvP and decided to avoid it, or seen it in Guild Wars and gone, oh my god, here we go, in for a laugh here? But yeah, Trick and Treat, absolutely superb. Inflicts all negative status effects on an enemy, grants itself all the positive ones. So a kind of combination of the essence of evil and reflection of good all rolled into one, without those weapons explodey mana gen effects. But it does have one particular bone of contention, and it's player's choice really whether people do it or not, and that is the 10th upgrade, which is Hex. This same thing applies to Essence of Evil, and it is whether or not you should get this last stage. Now, I've actually got him on both. I've done it on Essence of Evil as well, and one of the main reasons is I don't see it as a bad thing if the enemy gets transformed into a giant toad, first and foremost, and secondly, eventually you're going to come to a point in the game where you're going to get kind of weapon blocked on certain kingdoms when you need a certain amount of weapons upgraded, fully upgraded to advance your kingdom levels. So for me, I didn't want that to slow things down, and I'd rather learn to play with something like Hexed and that chance of that happening now and again, rather than not have it there, get weapon blocked later on in the kingdom, decide I've got to do it, and then suddenly get thrown because you get a giant toad now and again. I don't mind it. Like, if you don't have it there, there's pros and cons. If you didn't have Hexed, then you know when you cast this, then basically you're guaranteed all those negative status effects all the time on the enemy, which is a good thing. Unless they get cleansed very quickly, and then it's like nothing happened. To me, this is a kind of win-win situation. If Hexed comes in and they get transformed into a giant toad, then a giant toad is surely far less powerful than whatever troop was there before that. And if it wasn't, then there's problems already. So for me, Hexed is a win-win situation. Trick and Treat, absolutely superb weapon, and you get it from the Soul Forge. Let's take a look in the Soul Forge. Go to the weapons. Let's find it. And there it is. You're going to need 100 gems, 10,000 souls, and 5 copies of the Devil. Number 8, we got a weapon here, which one stands out as a really good weapon. Life and Death, of course it is. absolutely superb stuff. Steals magic +1 life from the last 2 enemies and death marks them, then blesses itself. So steal is like true damage, only it's better because you take that life away from them and you add it to your own at the same time, making you even more tanky, and it death marks them at the same time. And the fact that it actually targets the last 2 enemies, quite often some of the best troops are in last place, they're in them last 2 slots or they're stealthy. That can't hide them from this. So even if they think they're hiding in last 2 spaces or stealthy or something, and you're in them last 2 slots, you can cast this and still target them. Works really, really well with Arachnian Weaver, this in a elf class. Absolutely superb stuff, and it blesses itself at the same time. And the upgrades just are the icing on the cake, basically. Deal 5 scatter damage, is really good at removing barriers and things like that. Enchanting just gets ready to do it again as soon as it gets cast. Absolutely insane. Drain 3 mana from the first enemy is really good because if they were pretty much ready to cast or were ready to cast, it just stops that and makes them take another round to get going again and gains a bit more magic. Absolutely fantastic weapon. To get Life and Death, you're going to get this when it's the faction event weapon, when it's Silver Necropolis week, and you'll be able to craft it from the Soul Forge at the same time. So wait for Silver Necropolis to come around again and make sure you craft Life and Death. It is really an unmissable weapon. Number 7, one of the weapons here. Which is it? Yes, the Sheld of Urskaya. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Another one of these awesome weapons which can scale with the enemy, making it absolutely lethal. Gives an ally magic +1 armor, boosted by all enemy attack, then enrage and barrier them. So that's absolutely superb with troops like Tesla and Rowan. Absolutely brilliant stuff. But the upgrades, again, make it absolutely fantastic. Bless Myself, Sacred, really, really good. Give 1 mana to all allies is more handy than it seems. Like the amount of times that I've cast this when I've had like a Rowan on 11 out of 12 and things like this. I remember doing this often in the early days, and then that Radiant just fills them up and then just gives them that extra 1 mana which they needed. But also a barrier itself on shielding is really, really cool. Now remember that this actually gives a barrier to whoever you cast it on. So typically you would cast this on, say, your Tesla or your Rowan to give them a barrier, and you effectively get a barrier for yourself at the same time because of the way the spell works. Effectively getting 2 barriers for the price of 1. Absolutely superb with Rowan, absolutely fantastic with Tesla. You've probably seen my videos with Tesla and this, just ripping through the hardest levels on the factions. Level 500 in the Delves with this, absolutely superb stuff. And to get it, you just need to achieve 250 wins in Sentinel class, and you'll receive this awesome weapon. Number 6, we have something here. Which one can it be? Yes, it is the Mighty Mang. Fantastic leveler, nice equalizer if you're a newer player to the game. Makes those high level delves an absolute walk in the park with this weapon. It really is that good. Earth's Fury is similar, but overall I do just about prefer Mang. This eliminates all armor from an enemy and then deals magic +1 damage, then gain attack equal to armor eliminated. So on really high level delves, for example, where the enemy has got like loads of armor, you can just strip that all away in one go and then convert it to attack. You can get 1000 attack really easy with this weapon, even if you're a new player to the game, which is absolutely awesome. Your skulls are going to be absolutely devastating, and in a team like my Invincibles team, for example, with Charles Stoney and Gargoyle, it's absolutely almost unstoppable. That's why I call it my Invincibles team, because I've literally never ever lost a battle with it. It really is good. But yeah, Mang, absolutely fantastic stuff. Then you get it by getting your brown and red mana mastery up. Can't remember the exact level, but I don't think it was that high. Number 5, we have one of the most simplest weapons in the game, but absolutely one of the best still, and it is the absolutely fantastic Mountain Crusher. Now, if you're a newer player to the game, or you're just looking at those weapons that have gone before and thinking what's still to come, and you're thinking, well, how can a Mountain Crusher be one of the best weapons in the game? All it does is explode magic-based brown gems. There's so many other weapons that explode gems. What's different about this one? Well, the thing is, it's mana cost, which is just 11. The fact is, it uses brown, which when you combine this with stuff like Geomancer class, Titan class, anything that's got rock solid, which is when you get a barrier, when matching brown gems, this just absolutely comes into its own. It's got a very nice bonus as well, the fact that when you cast this, it creates a dust storm, which is brown. So basically, we get more brown on the board, which basically means when you cast this, 9 times out of 10, more than that probably, it gets charged up again, get a barrier. It's charging up the rest of the team at the same time because it's picking up mana from those explosions of brown gems, and it can be an absolute nightmare to get rid of as well because it's just constantly getting a barrier all the time. Really, really good weapon and very easy to get as well. In 4th slot, we have a weapon here which stands out above the rest. Few good weapons, but one stands head and shoulders above the others for me. Essence of Evil inflicts all negative status effects on an enemy and explodes magic +1 gems of their mana colour. So when you cast this on someone, you effectively eliminate him from the game because they've got everything. Death Mark, Entangle, Freeze, Silence, Burn, Curse, the whole shebang. It's just going to be a nightmare for him. It's like a really good weapon for just nullifying the most dangerous troop on the opposition, providing they're not invulnerable. Absolutely superb stuff, and it generates mana at the same time. Does have the same thing as Trick and Treat in the upgrade, which is the Hex thing, where it's going to be basically player's choice whether you decide to activate that last one or not. Like I said in the previous thing about Trick and Treat, I prefer to have it on because I'm not weapon blocking any of my kingdoms, and like I say, I see it as a win-win should that happen or not. But yep, Essence of Evil, absolutely superb weapon and achieved by getting 250 wins in Plague Lord class. In number 3, we have a couple of good weapons here again. Look, some really nice ones. But it is gonna be ROP Dart. Another awesome weapon. Eliminates all armor from an enemy. Gone. Don't care how much armor you had, it's now kaput. And deal magic based damage to them, effectively making it true damage, and then pull them to first position. That is good enough on its own, eliminating all armor, dragging them to first place, but it's the upgrades which absolutely are the icing on the cake for this. Gain an extra turn, this is absolutely superb. Destroy 3 random red gems is a bit of a pain sometimes because it can mess up the board where you kind of had a plan for that extra turn, but the fact that it entangles the first enemy is absolutely fantastic because you eliminate all their armor, you do some damage, you drag them to first place, and they're entangled, which means you're safe from skull damage and putting them into a very vulnerable situation. And you'll often target the most dangerous troop for this, drag them to first place and just finish them off. Absolutely fantastic weapon, one of the best in the game. You get it from Pride Lands when it's the Kingdom of the Week, and you can make it in the Soul Forge. Number 2 is the Mighty Warrior's Axe. Not really, it's the Wand of Stars. Choose one. Create 6 elemental stars, bless all allies, or create 7 umbral stars and curse all enemies. The cool thing about that spell is you can do that choose one based on whether you need a cleanse or not, or if you don't need a cleanse, you can do it based on which colors are the most prevalent on the screen. And the fact is that it's like a incredibly reliable mana generator. Now it can trip you up sometimes you'll cast it and it'll just go wrong and just fail to do anything at all and then set up the opposition. This is the kind of risk of this sort of weapon, but most of the time it absolutely does work out, and the upgrades aren't too bad either. You get that cleanse obviously anyway, but give 1 mana to all allies is even more mana which it gives. A little bit more gold, a bit more life, but a bit more magic. But yeah, it's this spell which is the best thing about this. When it fires and it's on form, it can just charge up your team so quick. And the fact that it uses all mana colors is, if you just don't really enjoy events like Guild Wars, you can have this as your weapon for pretty much the whole thing. Just have this up top, start with a 50% mana start if you can. Get this charged up really quick, and it will get charged up quick because literally you just got to look for a double drop of certain colors or whatever, and it'll be ready to rock and roll and do its thing. And if you get a nice cast with it, then you can charge up the rest of your team really quick and just be good to go. It's not that much thought required in it, which is probably why some people won't like it, but as a bit of a Hail Mary, bit of a do you feel lucky cast, it's absolutely fantastic. And most of the time, like I say, it will work out in your favor. Just be prepared for the odd occasion where it will trip you up and say, no mana for you today. In fact, I'll set up the enemy. That is going to happen from time to time. Be prepared for that. And it is available from the Soul Forge. Let's go to the Soul Forge. Let's just wait for that to give me my stuff. Thank you very much. Again, Soul Forge, weapons. Let's go to the bottom. It's actually quite cheap to cast, I think. It's 10 Celestials, 100,000 souls, and 1 copy of the Lovers is all you're going to need. And so we come to my number one favourite weapon in the game right now. Notice I said favourite weapon, not best. As I said at the start, the best weapon will vary upon battle to battle, fight to fight, situation to situation. But absolutely loving the Ruby Maak. Absolutely superb stuff. The Wonder Stars, as an example, is a fantastic weapon, but as I said, that will go wrong from time to time, which is why I prefer not to use it apart from the most desperate of situations. But the Ruby Maak deals in absolutes. Like this will do true damage to all enemies. It will create those booty gems. It will explode gems. So it's going to do tremendous true damage to all enemies, which hits stealthy opponents and things like that. Really good. It creates booty gems, which generates gold. It explodes gems, which can self-charge itself. This is viable in first place. You could have something like powerful, like a Geomancer class or anything with rock solid. When you collect a brown, you get a rock solid barrier, which means when you cast it, it's going to generate its own mana when it explodes those gems. It's viable in last place in a team with the Empress, for example. She uses green. When you cast her, you're going to make this crazily overpowered, and that's the kind of team I use for my PvP team at the moment. It is really, really good. So the Ruby Maak, an absolutely superb weapon, massive true damage, can be boosted. Really good gold team as well. I've got a gold team coming for this later, and a mana gen for itself and the rest of the team as well. Absolutely superb weapon, absolutely love it. So to get this awesome weapon, you're going to need to craft it from the Soul Forge. Now I know what some people are thinking. They're thinking 1,000,000 souls. I am never ever going to be in that situation to obtain this. But I remember thinking exactly the same thing about Dawnbringer a long time ago, and things happen really, really quickly in this game. So don't get despondent. That will actually happen. Like I was on like 6 million souls earlier, like above that, and I've got about 5 million souls in troops waiting to disenchant and things like that. And I've spent loads and loads of souls upgrading stuff recently. So the souls will come. It's just a matter of time. But you do need 1,000,000 souls. You do need 3 Celestials, and you do need a copy each of these weapons, which will not be disappeared when you craft the weapon, and you need a couple of 100 gems at the same time. So yeah, you need those 3 weapons, you need a lot of souls, and you need some gems. But the Ruby Maak, absolutely worth saving for. It's an absolutely superb weapon. Well, there's a video. If you enjoyed it, it'd be really cool if you press that like and subscribe button. It really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.